Hi friends, welcome to another video where I've interviewed Dr. Asha Benakappa ma'am. She's a senior pediatrician, a renowned doctor and an academician. Let's dive deep into the video and hope you enjoy it. Ma'am, good morning. Welcome to the talk. To a brief introduction about ma'am to our viewers. Madam is Dr. Asha Benakappa. She is heading the Department of Pediatrics at the Anand Sagar Medical College. And in one line, I know it would make injustice, but in one line, if I have to introduce Madam is a pediatrician, an academician, a mentor to hundreds of thousands of pediatricians who are practicing throughout India, and Madam is a fitness enthusiast and an enthusiast for life, to say the least. Welcome again, ma'am, and thank you for making time out of your busy schedule to give our viewers, and mostly you have a very huge fan following that I know, more so in Karnataka, and also your students are spread all across India
and also the world. I have lots of students across the globe.
Yeah, and they'll be very curious and happy to see you on screen, and this talk would be an attempt to get a little bit insights into your life, into your journey so far in the medical field.
Okay.
And ma'am, to start with, ma'am, you have come a long way, as in your maybe 40 years, 4 decades.
Yes.
4 decades. You've seen different times, especially in the field of pediatrics. To start with, how do you see the change? As in, initially, what were the most common diseases you used to come across, and now how has been the drift? What, as a doctor, what have been the struggles before, and now what are the new challenges?
Yeah, I would like to start off with my life story. And at the outset, I'm head of the Department of Pediatrics at Dr. Chandrama Dayanand Sagar Institute of Medical Education and Research. I would like to give all credit to this phenomenal lady who's got triple FRCS. And we are very close, the family is very close to our family, their parents and my parents. And I'm lucky to be heading this department in this magnificent campus and university. Whenever I have to talk about myself, I always would like to talk about my birth. Sometimes I call myself as a prisoner of birth. I was the first child of late Dr. D.G. Benakappa and Srimati Suvarna Benakappa. Incidentally, my mother is the daughter of late Dr. Mr. L. Siddappa, who was a PWD engineer at the time of Vidhan Saudha construction. And my father comes from a very, very good joint family, and they were very rich, and they were known for their philanthropy. And while my father wanted to be, he had done his MBBS from Mysore Medical College, and then they were given a small room in Victoria Hospital for pediatrics. And he was feeling very miserable that pediatrics is such a docile, puny subject. And then his teachers, Dr. Bopaya, they encouraged him to do pediatrics. And then he went on the Sri Lanka Colombo plan. India and the rest of the world had those plans to establish all this pediatrics. And then they were married in 1957, and when my mother was pregnant with me, my father had left the shores. And then after that I was born, and he did his pediatrics in Great Ormond Street Hospital, London, one of the best institutions in the world even today. And I had the opportunity of visiting this place way back in 2011, and then he moved on to Chicago to do at Chicago Medical School. So I think I've seen too much of pediatrics in my family, and my father never wanted me to be a pediatrician. He always wanted me to become an join the Indian Administrative Service, because he used to tell me, you're a born leader. I really don't know what made me choose pediatrics at that point of time. And everybody thinks that my father is my mentor. It is not him. It is Professor Nirmala Kesri, late Professor Nirmala Kesri. I lost Professor Nirmala Kesri in April 10th, 2016. The same year, I lost my father on September 27, 2016. Two great personalities in pediatrics. Both of them were known across the globe. And then I moved on to do my MBBS in Bangalore Medical College, and then I did my diploma in child health and masters in pediatrics and DNP and so on and so forth. And being the daughter of the first pediatrician qualified pediatrician of the state of Karnataka, had many challenges. And my father was the first person who said in MBBS there should be a paper on pediatrics. So that's why there's a paper on pediatrics, and he's the first person who started the diploma in child health, because it was very difficult to start MD pediatrics. And then MD pediatrics came all over the country, and I was a chairman, vice chairman of the Medical Council of India. Those days it was called MCI. And then he, developed pediatrics, and pediatrics ran in my blood. I was all the time listening to pediatrics from him. And those days we were very worried about the vaccine preventable diseases. So immunization was taken up in a very big way from expanded program of immunization. Expanded program of immunization means that the vaccinations were given only in certain places, and it was accessible only to the super rich. Then they said expanded program of immunization. Anybody, everybody could procure these vaccines from the government, and the vaccines could be taken. Then we moved on to universal immunization program, and so on and so forth. Many a times I keep making fun of my students that the vaccine preventable diseases is going to take away many of the diseases. So you will not be left with diseases to treat in children. For example, the birth dose of BCG, bacilli calmette urine, protects children from invasive forms of tuberculosis, the dangerous forms of tuberculosis, though not completely. Then the next is we give the birth dose of oral polio drops, and that also takes care of the polio. Almost we are eliminating polio from the world. Next thing was we give hepatitis B vaccination. Vaccination which prevents the children from getting hepatitis, that is liver induced infection. And then we move on to other vaccinations. We are so lucky that the government has been giving us pneumococcal vaccination, which protects against pneumonia, and diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus vaccination. Then we have the Haemophilus influenza vaccine, which protects against brain meningitis, we call it, and subsequently it is the fractional injectable polio vaccine, we say. This was given at 1.5, 2.5 months. Now recently it's been changed to 9 months. Then we get the MR vaccine. I feel in the last few months I've been seeing a lot of mumps cases at Chandrama Dayanand Saga Institute of Medical Education and Research. I wish the government had taken up MMR, measles, mumps and rubella, because MMR is little expensive. In any government programs, we look at cost effectiveness of a vaccine. So now they're thinking of launching the MMR vaccine, and I think this generation of the children are very lucky, because the government is launching the human papilloma virus vaccine, which protects against cervical cancer.
Right.
And so we have quite a lot of vaccines which are going to protect the children on vaccine preventable diseases. Of course, during the COVID pandemic, I remember just yesterday was the first lockdown of the COVID, and COVID pandemic was, India did it on a war footing and protected all of us. Despite this, there's a vaccine hesitancy. So we have to motivate the people to take all the vaccines against all the diseases that are available. We believe in prevention is better than cure, but I don't know. There are many obstacles to vaccines. One is the ignorance. The other one is not enough motivated. Then the vaccine hesitancy and the obstacles. For example, if a rural woman wants to come and get the vaccination done, we have it on certain days. In my department, we give it on almost all the days. She has to take off for that day work, and that day's labor will not be there for her. So somehow we have to see, just like the polio drops are given in bus stands, airports, how door-to-door campaigns, maybe we have to reach it to them and reach the unreachable. So that's one strong message I would like the community to know. When you have a vaccine, don't hesitate, please take it. And if there are any issues, let us know. That's one thing about it. Now what am I seeing? Those days it used to be lot of malnutrition, and we continue to see malnutrition. It's so unfortunate that we have so much of malnutrition across the country, and that is, we have to handle it on a global footing. We have extremes of malnutrition. At one hand, we have the poorest of the poor having malnutrition, where we talk about -3 standard deviation on the WHO growth curve, which is called severe acute malnutrition, then medium moderate acute malnutrition, and upwards. mild malnutrition, mild, moderate and severe. On the other extreme, we call it as obesity. Just recently we had the World Obesity Day. If I remember right, I think it was March 8th or 9th. So global obesity is on the rise and it is called globesity. And there is something called a CNNS survey, Comprehensive National Nutrition Survey. In that you will be shocked to know that children between the age of between 9 and 11 years, 30% of them have very high triglyceride levels. That is, the fat level is very high. And children around the age of 11 years, 9% of them are pre-diabetic. And there's a rampant insulin resistance. Somewhere we have lost out on reaching the right message to the community. Our whole diet should be prioritize proteins, do not fear fats and cut carbohydrates. Most of the children are on rice based food and wheat, and that is causing lot of insulin resistance. What do I mean by that? The children are taking a lot of carbohydrates which get converted into glucose, and for the glucose to be absorbed into the liver we need insulin. This is an hormone that is secreted by the pancreas. This is, as we go on eating too much of carbohydrates, it fails, and that's a time when all the glucose that has reached the liver becomes fatty liver, and the repercussions of fatty liver are too much. And by the time the disease manifests, it takes anywhere from 11 to 22 years. An apparently looking normal child can become insulin resistant. So here are a couple of patients who have come in the age group of 11 to 16 years. I've got the profile done, and I find quite a lot of them, maybe around 3 to 4% as of now, are insulin resistant, and they're definitely going to be future diabetics and its related disorders. So now I must say we are seeing more of a different form of malnutrition, which is called non-communicable diseases. Among them, diabetes tops the list. Then of course, you don't record the blood pressure as recommended every year, hypertension, then obesity, and then cancer is on the rise. If that's happening, also the junk food mafia. Children are onto too much of junk food. When I patiently sit and listen to the mother, what she is giving, the day begins with, children should never be given coffee or tea or even milk for that purpose below the age of 2 years. After the age of 2 years, we say 500 ml of milk or milk products like curds, paneer, cheese, and not really milk, because milk fills up the stomach and the child cannot eat. So there's lot of, I feel the myth about nutrition is one of the commonest causes for all the non-communicable diseases, which are called as NCDs, and mothers are totally unaware of it. I would like to stress with my own personal experience that 80% of the diseases are related, nutrition and nutrition related only. If we can set this right, then our children are going to be very healthy. I'm really concerned about our children, the future of our country.
Just now you mentioned about this the common general population or the non-medical fraternity may still not know so much about this, but childhood obesity, children presenting with coronary artery diseases, children presenting with diabetes or insulin resistance are on the rise. And you already stressed on it, as in the nutrition contributes to 80%. Over the next couple of minutes, can you tell young mothers because I think what you pointed out, the traditional thought process about Indian food, dal, roti, chawal, sabji, in this, can you give mothers the next few minutes, tell what to avoid, how brief principles of a good nutrition to the child?
Okay, I got it. What we're talking, whenever we talk about nutrition, nutrition has been my forte. I have spent 40 years on breastfeeding, and I was the first Indian who was in the healthcare task forces for World Alliance on Breastfeeding Action for 3 terms. And this particular organization gives us the slogan for the World Breastfeeding Week, which is celebrated from August 1st to 7th all over the world. I feel the nutrition starts from the womb of the mother.
Right.
And the adolescent nutrition we have to give a lot of importance, because what the mother eats dictates the child's future. There are many theories which the layman cannot understand. We talk about the thrifty gene syndrome and Doha theory, developmental origin of health and aging. There are so many theories. To cut it short, women, pregnant, adolescent girls and pregnant women are not aware of what they should eat. They go on a very high carb diet, carbohydrates, that is rice, then wheat and all that. Wheat contains gluten, which causes a lot of issues with the gut. So like that, they are on a high carb diet. I must confess that I did all this course about 2 years ago, and I have learnt a lot how wrong we are on nutrition. And it starts from the day the mother conceives. We have to guide her about what food she should eat for the health of the baby. So again here, we have to stress on a high protein diet, high fat and low carbs diet. So in such situation, the mother doesn't put on much weight. The baby puts on the weight. Average birth weight of an Indian baby, even after 75 years, is 2.7 kgs. And we still have babies born before 9 months of pregnancy to the tune of 11 to 12%, though we are looking at single digit. And low birth weight, less than 2.5 kgs. It's still rampant. So all we can do is on a one-on basis, talk to the mother about the nutrition of her pregnant woman, about her nutrition, how it has an implications on the unborn child. So the first focus I would like to talk is adolescent nutrition and nutrition during pregnancy and immediately after the baby is born. You know, I say as soon as the baby is born, put the baby to the breast. Recently, there's a person called Oso who's done excellent work. The umbilical cord should not be cut till the placenta separates on its own. How does that separate? The moment the baby is put on the mother's breast and the moment the baby crawls towards the breast, we call it as breast crawl, and starts nibbling at the nipple, there's a powerful hormone called oxytocin which is liberated and which releases the expels the placenta and prevent maternal bleeding immediately after delivery. Many people die because of heavy bleeding during delivery. And then the baby's sucking reflex stimulates all this. And from then onwards, you know, you have put the child on the right nutrition track. We say the baby should be exclusively breastfed, not even water for the first 6 months of life, except medically indicated drugs. And after 6 months, the baby should continue to breastfeed till 2 years of life, along with starting of homemade food. At the end of 2 years, the breast automatically goes into a process called fibrosis. And therefore, a mother who has breastfed a baby for 2 years will not get breast cancer. You know, such fascinating. Nature has devised mechanisms to protect her creation, but somewhere along the line we have lost this. And even at this point of time, if you look at the National Family Health Survey 5 reports, only 40% of the babies are breastfed at the end of 6 months, and initiation of breastfeeding in the first hour of birth is 40-45%. We are still, it should be 100. We spoke about institutional deliveries, and if every mother comes and pregnant woman comes to the hospital and delivers, then we are 100% sure of getting breastfeeding. But that's not happening. I need a lot of commitment from everyone that breastfeeding happens in 100%. And after the age of 6 months, we are supposed to start homemade complementary food. This is a very, very, dangerous area where things are not happening properly. We need to spend a lot of time on teaching the mother how many times a child should be fed and what to be fed. We say 6 to 7 months a child would be fed. Every 4th day we increase the food, and by the end of the 7th month the child should be on 4 tablespoons of food morning and evening. After 7 months we say the child should receive 125 ml of food with 3 times, and it goes on. And after the age of 1 year the child should be getting 250 ml or 250 grams of food 5 times a day. This message is not going to the community, and we should bank more on animal proteins. For vegetarians, we talk about milk products. For non-vegetarians, they should be giving egg, fish, meat and chicken. But they say it is not good for the baby. Unfortunately, though, they don't understand. Because the first 6 months, the baby goes on putting weight on exclusive breastfeeding at the rate of 40 grams per day. And after 6 months, it's the length of the child. In our country, our children are stunted, they are not tall at all because the protein in their diet is lacking. And animal protein is the best source of protein. For any diet, 50% of the food should come, protein must come from animal sources. But it is not happening at all. The strict vegetarians hesitate to give egg along with yolk, which contains 39% of nutrients, and if you add lemon you get 40 nutrients. And remember, the brain is growing very rapidly. At birth, in the pregnant mother's womb, the growth of the brain is just 21%, and it is the first 3 years where the brain is growing rapidly and reaches 85% of the brain growth. And for that brain growth, the predominant food is breastfeeding and timely introduction of complementary food. And so much so, I learned from my healer, Dr. Rupil Dalal, who helped me with my diabetes reversal, that every month, if the child is gaining weight at the rate of 1 kg per month, then the child's brain is 1 millimeter per month. Look at this fascinating thing. And we were all talking about the head circumference at birth should be 35 centimeters, and at the end of 1 year it should be 45 centimeters. We reach that very easily once the baby is put on breastfeeding and the right type of complementary feeding. So that's as far as the pediatric nutrition is concerned. And now I moved on to adult nutrition, and I find it a very fascinating journey, and this I would like to call it as metabolic health. None of us were aware of it, and I call it as healthy aging and happy aging. I'm 66, I'll be 66 years on April 5th, and now I've realized that there is so much of nutrition that we never taught in the medical schools. I have been a diabetic from the age of 37 years, and I was on insulin from November 2011. I completely stopped insulin on December 19th, 2022, after I moved on to a global transformation called low carbs and high fat. I am a fitness freak. I have lost 25 kgs. I have reversed my diabetes. I am not on any drugs except supplements. Though I am trying to take egg, which is a very good protein with all the complete protein with all the 9 essential amino acids, that's the maximum I can do about an animal protein being a vegetarian. So hence I am on supplements. That's called fish oil, which is omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids with EHA, eicosanoic acid, which are all cardioprotective, and magnesium. Many of us are deficient in magnesium, and so I take magnesium. I don't even call them medicines, I call them supplements. And we have taken up some projects in Chandramadhanand Saga Institute of Medical Education and Research. We are looking at is magnesium the missing nutrient in pregnant women. We just analyzed a few data for 1 month, and we found that out of 25 people, 5 people are low in magnesium. These are all simple things which we can adopt in our life and make our life comfortable, and move on the healthy path.
And ma'am, with diabetes being so rampant, especially in the adult population, can you tell our viewers your diet? How is your diet, so that they can get, because if you are practicing, you would have done extensive research about it. Can you tell what is the diet, what are the supplements you take?
Yeah, number one, I told you I was diagnosed with diabetes in 1937. When I was 37 years old, not 1937. Then I was on insulin from November 11th, and I stopped on December 19th. What made me to do all this? So I went on low carbs and high fats. Okay, I completely stopped rice and wheat. So a simple way of telling you is, initially I was on 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch and dinner. And for the past, 1 year.
What, 98% of us do 3 meals a day?
Yeah. So it's not required at all, because when you are on high carbs, you feel hungry all the time. You feel hungry, you're tired, you sleep less because of the magnesium deficiency. Magnesium is a fascinating drug to help us with sleep, DNA synthesis, muscle building. So many uses are there with magnesium which we are not aware at all. And from a 3 meal, I have come to 2 meal. And now, like for example, I take, it's all protein based. I need 70 grams of protein per day, 70 to 80 grams of protein per day. So I have my brunch, both breakfast and lunch clubbed together at 10:30, and during that time I'll have say 40 grams of protein. So I take 5 whole eggs. Each egg is 7 grams of protein. So I get my 35 grams whole eggs in any form. It can be boiled, omelette, scrambled eggs, or it's mixed with some cauliflower, broccoli, etc. And the remaining 5 grams of protein, I have to use so much of plant product to get that 5 grams. So usually it will be 100 grams of for example 100 grams of cucumber will give me 4 grams. Okay, 100 grams of curry leaves will give me 4 grams. So Benjamin Bickman, whose podcasts are very interesting, he says if a vegetarian has to get the right amount of protein, he'll have to eat a truckload of vegetables. That's our difficulty. Fish contains 100 grams of fish contains 19 grams, chicken contains 22 grams, liver meat 22 grams. So this concept I never knew. This has been happening across the globe for the past 10-15 years, but it has not reached the country. And I'm very grateful to Dr. Rupal Dalal who brought it over to India. So now that's what I do. And then in the evening 6:30, it's better to have your meal as early as possible. Our ancestors used to have their meal before sunset. So that's the best way of having it. So again I have another 45 grams of my protein, 40 grams. And what do I have for that? I have curds, thick fat curds. Only after I went into this movement and all that, I learned Nandini has got Samruddhi milk. 100 grams of that Samruddhi milk contains 5 grams of fat and 4.1 gram of carbohydrates, etc. So curds made out of that. Okay, because it is curds is contains less of carbs once it is fermented, and it's good for the gut. And the next thing I have is a full bowl of vegetables, and also like once in a way grated cheese and 100 grams of paneer. So it's all protein oriented. Why we should have it before sunset is because the biological clock starts working after that. If you have eaten at 9 o'clock, somewhere around 2 a.m. or something, you'll feel your body is very warm. We are disturbing the circadian clock of the various organ systems in our body. And you will always find somebody suddenly telling you, he was perfectly fine at 10, we were all having dinner in that campus, in the club or hotel, and night 2 o'clock I heard that he is dead. That's when your sympathetic activity, which should be sleeping, you are overacting the sympathetic activity. So the message I would like to tell people is, please have your dinner as early as possible so that you can help your biological clock and the organ system to do their work. One simple example I would like to give is, if your wife has finished serving dinner, she'll keep on telling you, why don't you finish the dinner? Because I have to wash the vessels, I have to keep things ready for tomorrow, I have to keep the children's clothes ready, etc. If you go on prolonging it, from at 10 o'clock if you have your dinner, then by the time she finishes everything, 12, 1:30 like that, it's not just concern for her, it's concern for the health of the entire family that you eat very early. This is foolproof. People have told us about this, but somehow we are not doing it. And you must have a good sleep, and you must get into the habit. I never did that. Meditation is medication, I feel, We need that, and we need to socially connect, not on the social media. I feel we are all too much on the social media, and it is damaging our lives and dampening our emotions, I must say. We are all the time dependent on the social media for the ticks, likes, whatever. And we seem to be a dampened human beings who are going in for some sort of a self-destruction, as evidenced by the number of suicides, number of mental illness. I'm genuinely concerned about my children because there's not much conversation, much body. When the mother touches the baby, hugs the child, cuddles the child, the enormous reflexes and reactions that go on in the body is not happening. Right here in my ward, the mother will give the mobile to the child with something, and then she'll be happily doing something else because she thinks the mobile is everything. Mobile is doing major parenting. So in my ward, I bought a lot of children's books and toys so that they're all inward. Earlier time when the hospital was not busy, I would go and sit and tell stories to them. We have to bring back all those glorified ways of child care and child upbringing.
Very happy to hear. I have wanted to stop you at many points. One thing, you said high fat. When you say high fat, what are the things you use?
Yeah, I use ghee for cooking, coconut oil, mustard oil, unprocessed peanut oil.
Alright. And regarding do you use protein supplements?
No,
No,
never go for supplements. Go for natural ones. Again, I would like to quote Benjamin Bickman, who says, anything in a packet, anything with a code, scan code, okay, is ultra processed and extremely dangerous for us. If you do Google, there is a whole 156 pages on the junk push, and we are now moving towards front of pack labeling, FOPL. And I have got into the habit of looking at the nutrition facts of everything. Just last Sunday, I did a workshop for the general public. We are eating wrong all the time, and they were all happy. They were scrambling, fighting for the good day cookies. Each one took one packet of biscuits. I just waited for them because it's not the right time to do it. So I told them, please bring back your biscuit packets and tell me. And they were shocked. In that one packet of biscuit, they had already consumed 300 grams of carbohydrates. So we give them what is called as protein carbohydrate calculator, which is available in both Kannada and English, and I make them do the calculations. And they're all shocked. We should not be taking more than 100 grams of carbohydrate per day, and at least 1 gram of protein for our ideal body weight. All these days we were talking about something called as body mass index, BMI, but now that is obsolete. We use ideal body weight. It's based on the height. If somebody is 5 feet, then for a boy it is 50 kgs, for a girl it is 45.5 kgs. That's the ideal body weight. For every inch after that we add 2.3 kgs. So we calculate for that, not for the present weight. For example, when I started this program, I was 86 kgs. So if I had calculated the protein for that, I would have required 86, isn't it? But that would have been extremely dangerous and harmful on the kidneys. So now I am 63 kgs. Okay, so I want to put on a little bit of weight. So the protein is more important. It gives you very satisfying. Okay, and again, too much of proteins will, if you take 100 grams of protein and 60 grams gets converted to carbohydrates. This is where I learned the rule, and having a calculator is so paramount, so precise as that. And we were all the time saying, I was going on saying it's genetics, my diabetes, because most of my family members are diabetics, but now I have disproved it. It is because of the nutrition. So one is nutrition, good sleep, meditation and exercise. Exercise is not walking and talking. Exercise is muscle building. Muscles are the only other organ in the body which takes up glucose without insulin. I'm heavily concentrating on building up my calf muscles, which is said as the alternate liver. Unfortunately, alcoholics, they keep praying, I wish God had given me 2 liver. If one was non-functional, there's another liver, but I feel like saying there should be 2 pancreas. It is said that for your entire lifetime, you secrete as little as 1 gram of insulin, and we are destroying it by eating frequently. Another message which I want to tell the community is, just write down how many times you eat in a day or drink in a day. There are people who will tell me, in the morning I go for my walk at 6 a.m. I drink a good cup of coffee with milk and sugar. After I come back from there, I have another cup of coffee. Then I have my bath and breakfast, and I have another cup of coffee. So there was 3 eating windows. Then at 11:30 I have another cup of coffee with my friends. At 1:30 I have my lunch. At 5:30 I eat something, udin vada, something like that. Okay, and then at 8:30 again I have my dinner. So the number of times you ate is extremely dangerous. Each time you eat, there's an insulin surge. So now we call what is called as time restricted eating or eating windows. And once you eat, zip it up. People keep asking me, please, we have our clinical meetings and everybody goes out and says, have your tea, coffee. I say nothing doing. My next meeting window is at 6:30. So if you want to eat, you're too much tempted with the udin vada or something like that, but it's not good actually. if you want to eat, please shift it to the eating window, so that you have only 1 or 2 or 3 spikes. Okay, not constantly eating, constantly drinking, even drinking a cup of tea with milk, it's very dangerous. So I have monitored myself for 6 full months with what is called as continuous glucose monitoring, and I knew what spikes my sugar, So we now depend, people keep asking what should I eat. I say ancient millets, okay, foxtail, barnyard, little millet, quinoa, okay, navane. These are the ancient millets that you should be eating, and you should be eating vegetables grown above the ground. They are very rich in cellulose, okay, and you should be eating very good oils. Like I said, ghee, what I prefer, and the next alternative is coconut oil, and the next all this. They are all wood processed, not chemical processed. So that is what you should be eating. So you got a good source of your proteins, and you got your fats, okay, and fiber, etc. Okay. So definitely I ask people to look at, everybody has a smartphone, carbohydrate fiber ratio, it should be less than 10. If it is anything greater than 10, think twice and calculate your carbohydrates for the day. Simple, I made simple alterations in my life, and I must confess that I have done beautifully well, and now I grow all over India talking about a physician's journey of diabetes reversal. And at the bottom of it, I keep saying, I was not taken good care by the endocrinologist. Nobody asked me to get a fasting insulin done. My blood glucose was treated, and I was on 16 units of insulin before I came into this program. So I feel physicians should update themselves. Physician, heal yourself before you heal others.
Would you, for the viewers or diabetic patients, would you want, I know this is not any sponsored video, but would you like to tell what is the diabetic program? If somebody is interested, they can maybe take up that program?
Yeah, I run that program here in Chandramadhanand Sagar, Institute of Medical Education and Research, on every Saturday, because for one person it takes 1 hour to do the consultation.
Okay.
And I can't, it's 10 steps. Okay, I can't do the consultation, just they come, I want to reverse my diabetes. It's not like that. It's a process. Okay, and the first thing that they should do is get the baseline investigation done. Second is interpretation of the investigations. Then I make them do a protein carbohydrate calculator. Then I tell them how many times you want to eat, then protein based. It goes on like that. Then we tell them to take the supplements. Then we tell them to get onto some exercise activity.
Even pre-diabetics can take your
I have so many pre-diabetics who reversed in 3 months. Especially, I'm a vegetarian, especially non-veg people, they have a bonus. They can do it very fast. And by this carbohydrate low carb diet, many of the girls who were married and not conceived because of polycystic ovarian disease, it's one of the offshoots of insulin resistance. And here, right across here, the earlier obstetrician Dr. Nagendra Prasad, I referred some 7-8 girls to me, and they all reversed their PCOS just by doing the diet. They have conceived, they have gone home as happy moms. It's so exciting, enriching, and people say, Asha madam, don't give up pediatrics because you are a pediatrician and we need you, don't do that. I have sort of saying, this is my hobby and I'm trying to help people. Now I've become very passionate about adult nutrition, because in any department of adults, nobody asks them what you eat. Oh, you got blood pressure, I'll give you the blood pressure tablet. At the start of this program, because of my insulin resistance, my blood pressure was 140/90, and now my blood pressure is 110/65. I'm not on any medications. It's such a nice feeling. So when I experimented on myself before I launched myself on others, I'm all set to help people. But for results, it takes 3 to 6 weeks. I had this girl X who came here and she lost in 6 weeks, unbelievable, 15 kgs. And she came and told me, Auntie, I don't know what to do, I have to stitch a new set of clothes. I said, Beta, no problem, I will give you the first set of clothes. From a XXL to coming down to, a medium sized thing. And she comes back and tells me, I am now pregnant and I don't think my husband is going to throw me out of the house. The rural community here, their marriage matters a lot. Conceiving and having a child matters a lot.
And quickly, can you tell about the supplements, ma'am? What you think are supplements which are essential?
One is for a vegetarian like me, the fish oil. The fish eating people don't have to take it, but for me I have to take it, and it is not similar to cod liver oil and 7Cs. It is triple fish oil, available only online. It's not available in any pharmaceutical shops. Then evening at 5 p.m. I take my magnesium. It is magnesium glycinate 550 milligram capsule, again has to be taken online because it gives you a very good sleep, your muscle, etc. These are the only two supplements I am on.
The selection of the supplements is also a matter of concern because there are so many people who land up buying wrong supplements, from not trusted brands, and they land up in trouble.
That's why I put up the display in my room, no?
Okay.
At the entrance of my department, I put up the display of what supplements to take, what brand, and all that. Not that I am promoting any brands. It has to be that magnesium and that fish oil. That's it. If you are eating fish every day, then you don't have to take the fish oil. But non-vegetarians definitely lack magnesium. And many of these people who have come to me, and when we have done the baseline investigations, we find that many of them don't have vitamin B12, vitamin D. You know, it's shocking. Yeah.
And at the end of this video, I will be putting up in the description the supplements which you recommend.
Yes.
And little bit about sleep, ma'am. You said good sleep. Can you quantify what is good sleep? Describe what is a good sleep.
See, for example, just before I started on this program, I could never sleep at all. You know, most of the time I was thinking it's insomnia. Because my mother, Naveen, my brother, my father, they all take this Zol fresh. And I was thinking, what is this? I used to be tired in the morning, believe me. And I used to have a lot of panic attacks because I'm very close. I was very close to my father. After his death, I started fearing death. I'm going to die. I'm 66. I'll be dying and all that stuff. But then, when I started taking magnesium, when I started doing my gym, I go to the gym every day. And then, when I went on low carbs, at 10 I'm fast asleep like a baby. So when I was starting magnesium, Dr. Rupal told me, Asha ma'am, you will sleep like a baby. I sleep like a baby and I get up at 7. 9 hours of sleep. The recommended is 7 hours. I get 9 hours of good sleep. And people say, I want to keep my hair grey. They say, Asha ma'am, you're looking so young. And Rupal chose me for this program. We are only 3 people in India. One is Dr. Rupal Dalal. The other one is Dr. Devji Patil, who had come here for one of our programs on the World Breastfeeding Week. He's in Satya Sai Hospital. And myself. We are the 3 people currently doing the adult nutrition, a strict protocol. So at that time, she said, I chose you because you have genuine concern for the community through your work with breastfeeding and complementary feeding. And I have always been a passionate teacher. Students are my inspiration and teaching is my passion. So everybody says you have that knack of making it passionate for us also, and you make us. I have many recruits who have gone into low carbs and healthy fats, high fats, and I call them my ambassadors.
And a little bit about your muscle training, muscle building. Can you tell our viewers?
Yeah, see, every day I reach the gym at 5:30, and after your warm up exercises, I make it a point to do high intensity treadmill for the calf muscles. Okay, it's 10 minutes. Then after that, it is weightlifting. I do upper body, lower body, shoulders, back, chest, triceps and biceps, then chest and shoulders, like that. It's a 5 days program. On the last day, it's lower, abdominal, this thing. I must confess, recently there was a we have 44,000 pediatricians in the Indian Academy of Pediatrics. It's the largest NGO in the country, second largest NGO in the country. And then we had a competition, which was called the longest plank. And I competed with 45 years, and I won I read the finals by having a plank of 2.36 minutes.
That's a very long
Okay, but I lost in the finals by 1 second. It's okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah, competing at 45 years.
2.5 minutes of plank is?
2 minutes and 36 seconds I got selected. In the finals, I did 2 minutes and 39 seconds. The winner was 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and she's a Punjabi from Amritsar, and she's 45 years.
Okay.
So I keep telling, yeah, it's all cheating. Yeah.
Going to the initial part of your talk, you said you've seen you, as in your dad is a pediatrician, brother is a pediatrician, you've seen pediatrics all your life. Say if you were not a pediatrician, how do you imagine yourself? As in what is there any alternative? How do you imagine yourself? Because as not a pediatrician, what would you be doing?
You will be surprised to know that I did 3 months of architecture in Vishweshwaraya University, Central College, because my second love was perhaps my first love was architecture. Somehow I felt the healing hands will take precedence over a house, and my house is very uniquely built. I would always like to acknowledge the then Chief Minister, late Mr. Gundu Rao. I got the highest number of gold medals. Those days, 3 gold medals. You know how tough our exams were. I'm talking about 1976 and 85. The examiners were so tough, and I had got 3 gold medals. And then he announced in the convocation that the highest number of medals would be given, gold medals would be given a plot. And Prakash Padkone, myself, Shanta Rangaswamy, the cricket. I'm one of the persons who started the women's cricket team along with Shanta Rangaswamy. So I got a plot, and the whole house has been designed by me. My architect, Mr. Satyaprakash Varanasi, always says she gave me the lyrics and I put the rhythm. So my second love or first love was architecture. I love cooking and inviting people, but nowadays it's so difficult for people when we offer them low carbs. They're not comfortable with it. So I want to make low carbs a healthy movement, at least in Karnataka, if not the whole of the country. Gradually people are picking up. At CD Samar also, I want all the faculty to do this. I have made one of my colleagues to do the protein carb calculator and check on this, and some would do come for a consultation on a nutrition clinic when we run on Saturdays. So I want that to pick up in a big way, because it's so healthy, because I've experimented on myself. Despite this, many of us don't know that the spikes of glucose causes coronary artery problem, because we are South Indians and our coronary blood vessels are smaller compared to the rest of the world, and we are predominantly rice eating, so we have a belly and we have visceral fat is very, very high. So I really want to bring about transformation in our eating habits slowly, and guide them through those bad habits. So that's my passion. And cooking, we come from Davangere, and Jolad roti, engai palya and all that was my favorite. But when I was on the continuous glucose monitoring, it used to spike my sugars to 400, 350. I was shocked. I was really shocked. So even now I was cooking here, doing a demo to all my colleagues with a low carb diet with millets and all that. They enjoyed it. They said it's very good, ma'am, it's as good as our upma. I had made a kodo millet one dish, and they all said, madam, it is like tasting just like our traditional upma. If you can just change a little bit of your taste buds, I think you gain a lot in terms of health. So that's one thing. And I was playing cricket for the Karnataka Cricket's team. Shanta Rangaswamy used to be the captain, and we had Uma Das Gupta vice captain, and I don't know how many of you know about Chitra Narasimhan, who climbed the Himalayas, the first lady who climbed the Himalayas and all that. So I had played cricket and come home, and we had won. And that time I think it was somewhere March, and our exams were supposed to start in April. And then my father said, what do you want to be? And that's the first time I was hit. He took that bat and hit me till it broke. And then I said, you have just 20 days. And I don't know how you're going to get through your PUC. You want to be a doctor. I don't have money to put you in any capitation fee. Capitation fee colleges had just then started. And I studied, and I got 91%. And I did get a government seat in a private medical college like that. So my destiny was written in medicine, I suppose. And I really like pediatrics. I really love my children, And everybody keeps saying you look so young, for all pediatricians, including me. Because we're all the time talking with those bubbly children. They make your world. They make your world. They are so innocent. They are not, what to say. They are not judgmental. Even if I've given the injection, the next day morning they'll come and talk to me, shake hands with me. They have such fascinating, though they have a very good memory, it's a love. You know, we need to love our children. So I really love my pediatrics, and I love my clients, my community. You know, when I asked Dr. Premchandra Sagar I wanted a playpen in the outpatient, it was sanctioned just like that. And all the kids come to our outpatient, first stop is at the playpen, and then they get their vaccination done, then they go through all the counseling and all that, and they go back to the playpen. So it's so nice, no? They're so innocent.
Ma'am, if we observe the places you work, you were the director of the Indira Gandhi too, or a non-medical viewers, places like Indira Gandhi Child Institute and Vani Vilas, they are apex institutes for pediatric decision making. You have been the director at Indira Gandhi, you were HOD at Vani Vilas, now here you are the HOD. If we see, you have always selected government institutes or where the lesser affluent or the economically lesser privileged people. Is it by chance, or you consciously make the, because corporate is also one option, you could have worked there? Is it a conscious decision, or how is it? What is it?
Yeah, Jaidev, you know what? Immediately after my retirement, I was head of the Department of Pediatrics in the prestigious Bangalore Medical College and Research Institute, and it is my alma mater because I also studied there. You know, it's my taur mane, and I would have been the director of Bangalore Medical College itself. But my father was in his twilight years. All his life he spent his time to establish the Indira Gandhi Institute of Child Health, a comprehensive 18 to 20 pediatric specialty under one wing, because he was fed up of people running around for cardiology, for surgery, you know, for ENT like that. But his dream did not take off. I appeared for the interview in 2012 and I was cheated. Then I would not like to mention the minister. The then health minister took up a bribe and somebody else became the director. And I went to the court. I told my father I don't want to go to the court. He said nothing doing. And he took out 2 lakhs of his pension money and made me to go to the court. He said we have to show this country that there is Nyaya, Niti and Dharma. I have written this in my book called Antakarana. I ran a very popular column in Prajamani from 2012 to 2014, the longest column for 2 years. It was called Antakarana. In that I have written my life's journey, and in that I have written about Indira Gandhi. Iduvaragu Mariyalada Kate, how my father struggled, how I went with him to ministers' houses. Recently one person was telling me, my father has very bad varicose veins. I used to see your father in Vidhan Sabha corridors trying to get sanctions for Indira Gandhi. But he was very, very unhappy, and he told me, I have never asked you to apply for the director post, but this time you will apply. And before I'm gone, I want to see something happening. So I reported on to cut a long story short, I fought a long legal battle, an expensive battle, and reported to Indira Gandhi on the September 14th, 2015. And I lost my father just a year later. And he died a happy man. But I lost a lot of money. And sometimes when I'm thinking, I'll be thinking maybe I shouldn't have gone there. Recently, because of the International Women's Day on 11th, they gave me an award in Vani Vilas Hospital. It's called Vaidya Ratna. And they were all very unhappy. They said, Madam, you left us in the middle. You ditched us. And that's why Indira Gandhi gave you. I now feel Indira Gandhi is more of a political place rather than the academics my father saw. And imagine, he's the first man who thought of a pediatric super speciality hospital under one roof way back in 1990s. You know, now it's all, everybody talks about speciality, super speciality, multi-speciality hospitals. But for children, he was the first visionary, you know. He, along with Dr. Krishna Bhargava, who started the Kidwai, and Dr. Chinay of the Jaidava Institute of Cardiology, they were all visionaries. Karnataka is lucky that such people were born. And then I went there, and that was the most miserable part of my life. I never enjoyed it. Then I retired on November 1st, 2018. And then I said, I've done a lot of service to the government. 33 years of service was long. I wanted to stay back at home. Believe it or not, the teacher in me started, troubling me a lot. And then I went for a short stint to Tumkur District Hospital as a DNB teacher. I was very unhappy there because, we think something about the district hospitals. My father always wanted me to do some service in Tumkur because of the Swamiji. I couldn't do it when he was alive. So I went there. I was very badly disappointed. So I stayed back at home for a few months, joined Tilak Nagar as a DNB faculty. I was still not happy. And that's the time when there was an advertisement of CD Simo. I decided among all the private medical colleges, this is home to me and the family is known to me. At that point of time when I got a message that I have been appointed as a HOD, I was actually in Bijapur. I had gone for the Vice Chancellor to be deemed University of BLD Medical College. You know, some 4 MCI people had come for the selection of the Vice Chancellor, and then almost I was about to accept being the Vice Chancellor there, and I got this message, and then I said, okay, I'll say it quits, and I feel very sad when I forget his name, Biradar, his name is Dr. Biradar, he became the Vice Chancellor and he died of COVID, and he was telling me, what madam, your heart was there, but you came here and we all wanted you to take up, but you are disappointing us and all that. So, you know, I always feel your destiny is written, and at the age of 66, I have started believing a lot in karma theory.
And is there, I'm not sure if I can use this word, is there anything like you have a mission or you want to see this happen in your, because you brought up so many changes, set up so many protocols, established departments, set up institutions, is there anything left which you want to see it happen in your life? Is there any such thing? Do you have, like, this is my mission, I want to achieve this in my lifetime?
See, my department is near the surgery department. Okay, on a day-to-day basis, I see a lot of amputations, diabetic amputations going on. So my present mission is to reverse the diabetes in these farmers. You know, I want my hands to be strengthened by every one of you. Like every drop counts when we say polio elimination. So every one of you matter to me. If you get a patient to your neurology department, quickly do his diet chart and tell him if he's eating 10 times, tell him to eat 3 times. Let's start with that. Then we'll slowly, you know, ragi to a certain extent is permitted. Definitely not rice and wheat, because rice contains 365 and wheat contains 78 carb fiber ratio. You know, and CD Simo, we have a WhatsApp group called Kutumba. You know, we all are very well connected and we love each other. So I want all of you to help me to bring down the amputations in the first place, to reverse the diabetes in these poor farmers. So I'm not just saying that we'll create a millet generation, but we'll create a generation of low carbs, high fat, which I would like to call it as healthy fat, and help them to reverse their diabetes. That one life you give them. Recently, the surgery you people done in that person with proptosis, you gave him life, you gave him vision, you know, and it matters a lot. And we get so many obese women. So I want to do 2 ends. The end point has already happened, diabetes, right? And we have we have 100, you know, in as short as less than 4 years, we have 150 deliveries per month. And those pregnant women, let's start in the beginning. Let's help those pregnant women with low carbs and give them a healthy life and a healthy baby. Right now, with the physiology department with Dr. Monica, we are doing a study, magnesium, the missing nutrient in pregnant women. And we are also looking at the umbilical cord blood magnesium levels. If just giving them magnesium can bring down pregnancy-induced hypertension, can bring down premature birth, can bring down low birth weight, don't you think our college, you know, this college means a lot to me. I have told you in the beginning itself. So always whenever we have meetings with the Vice Chancellor, he always keeps saying it's something different. You know, research. He is very much oriented to research, new things and all that, innovations. You know, I'm looking at mobile CGM, because the CGM which I had was for 2 sensors and the reader, it was 20,000 rupees. We can think of technological innovations, a mobile based app to check your sugar levels, you know, and reach out to the community. So prevention through the adolescent children, pregnant women, and the end point that has happened. If I can reverse diabetes in 5 farmers, you know, it's like getting a Nobel Prize. So Dr. Sagar says we should get a Nobel Prize. One of you should get a Nobel Prize for CD Simo. And I always say CD Simo, we work with a difference. We are not like other medical colleges. So like that, I've done lots and lots of innovations in my department, which is, which should be replicated, but it is not happening.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a pleasure for talking to you. Hope you guys liked and enjoyed the video as much as I did making it. See you all again in the next video. Until then, goodbye.